Minho walked into the big glass room. His hands shook a little bit. He tried to hide it by putting his hands behind his back. The room was huge. It reached up so high that he could not see the top. All around him sat strange creatures from other worlds. Some had wings. Some had scales. Some looked like nothing he had ever seen before. There were 47 different types of aliens in this room. Minho was the first human to ever stand here. He took a deep breath. Earth had sent him here to speak for all humans. He had to make a good first impression. The future of his entire planet depended on what happened in this room today. A tall, bug-like creature stood up. It had 6 arms and wings that looked like they were made of rainbows. This was Velthar. He was the leader of the Galactic Council. A small machine on his chest turned his bug sounds into words that Minho could understand. "Ambassador Minho," Velthar said, "we have looked at your people very carefully. We watched your television shows. We read your books. We studied your history. We are worried about what we found." Minho felt his stomach drop. This was not a good start. "Council leader, please know that humans want peace. We want to be friends with everyone. We want to learn and share with other worlds." "That is good," Velthar said. "But that is also the problem. Your people are too afraid of fighting. We have seen all your movies and books about war. They all show the same thing. War is terrible. War breaks your soldiers. War destroys your people's minds." A snake-like alien moved closer. Its name was Hyuk. It spoke in a hissing voice. "We watched your films. The soldiers in them come home broken. They have bad dreams. They cannot forget what they saw. You even have special doctors for this. You call it post-traumatic stress disorder." Minho nodded. "Yes, war does hurt people. That is why we try so hard to avoid it." "Exactly." Velthar clicked his mouth parts together. He seemed happy with this answer. "This is why the Council has decided something important. Earth needs our protection. Space is not always safe. There is an empire called the Krell. They attack and take over other worlds. If they found Earth, your people would be too scared to fight back." "Wait," Minho said. "Council leader, I think there is a misunderstanding. The decision is final." Velthar cut him off. "Earth will be under our protection. You will give us resources and culture, but we will handle all military situations. We know this is hard for a species that fears fighting so much, but it is for your own good." Minho wanted to explain. He wanted to tell them they had it all wrong. Those movies and books were not about being afraid. They were about remembering. They were warnings about what humans could do when they had no choice. But he could see that Velthar would not listen. The council had made up their minds. "As you wish, council leader," Minho said quietly. He bowed his head. The meeting ended. Minho walked back to his office on the space station. His assistant Jiwon was waiting for him. She could tell from his face that things had not gone well. "They think we are weak," Minho said. He sat down heavily in his chair. "They watched our war movies and thought it meant we were afraid of fighting." Jiwon shook her head. "They do not understand us at all. No, they do not." 3 months went by. Minho did his job. He went to meetings. He signed papers. He smiled and was polite. But he felt frustrated. The galaxy thought humans were weak and scared. They thought Earth needed to be protected like a small child. One day, Minho received a message from Earth. It was from Major Suji. She worked with the military. The message was short. It said, "They do not understand us at all. We are not afraid of war. We remember it." There is a big difference. Minho read the message several times. Suji was right. Humans were not afraid of war. They respected it. They knew what it cost. They studied it. They learned from every mistake they had ever made. They taught their children about it so they would never forget. But the galaxy did not see it that way. They saw the tears in the movies. They saw the broken soldiers. They saw the memorials and the sad music. They thought it all meant humans were too weak to fight. They were wrong. So very wrong. Minho saved the message. He put it in a folder on his computer. Maybe it was better this way. Let the galaxy think humans were peaceful and fragile. Let them underestimate Earth. There were worse things than being underestimated. He looked out his office window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krell Empire was growing. They were taking over more and more worlds. The council talked about them in worried voices. They said the Krell were getting bolder. They said it was only a matter of time before the Krell attacked something important. Minho had a bad feeling in his stomach. He could not shake it. Something was coming. He could feel it. He just did not know it would come so soon. That night, Minho could not sleep. He lay in his bed in the small apartment on the station. He thought about Earth. He thought about his family back home. He thought about all the humans living their lives, not knowing that the galaxy saw them as weak and scared. If only the aliens knew the truth. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had fought each other over land, over resources, over ideas. They had made every possible mistake, and they had learned from all of it. They had written it all down. They had studied it in schools. They had built entire institutions dedicated to understanding war. The movies and books that scared the Council were not signs of weakness. They were proof of wisdom. Humans knew exactly how terrible war was. They knew the price, and that knowledge made them careful, but it also made them ready. Ready for what, though? Minho did not know. He hoped they would never have to find out. But hope was not always enough. In 3 hours, alarms would start screaming. The Krell would arrive, and the galaxy would learn that they had made a very big mistake about humans. The alarm started screaming at 3 in the morning. Minho jumped out of his bed. His heart was pounding. The sound was so loud it hurt his ears. Red lights flashed on and off in his room. Something was very wrong. His door flew open. Jiwan ran inside. Her face was white with fear. Her hands were shaking. Sir, they are here. The Krell. They have surrounded the station with their ships. We cannot leave. Minho felt like someone had poured ice water down his back. The Krell Empire. The warriors that the Council feared most. They were here. Right now. He got dressed as fast as he could. His fingers fumbled with his shirt buttons. He kept dropping things. But finally he was ready. He ran toward the Council chamber. Jiwan ran beside him. Other aliens were running too. Everyone looked scared. The Council chamber was full of noise and panic. Aliens were shouting in dozens of different languages. The translation machines could not keep up. Everyone was talking at the same time. Some were crying. Some were trying to make phone calls. Some were just standing still, frozen with fear. Velthar was trying to get everyone to be quiet. His wings were moving fast. Please, everyone! We must stay calm. Our defense ships will come and help us. The snake alien Hyuk made a hissing sound. Your defense ships are too far away. They are in 6 different places in space. The Krell picked the perfect time to attack. We only have 3 small ships close enough to help. The Krell have 20 big warships. A big screen on the wall turned on. It showed the space outside the station. Huge dark ships floated there. They were shaped like weapons. They had guns all over them. One ship was much bigger than all the others. It was so big it blocked out the stars behind it. Then a face appeared on the screen. It was a Krell. The creature looked like a lizard mixed with a dragon. Its face was covered in old scars. Its eyes were yellow and cold. This was Warlord Crix. He was the leader of the Krell attack force. Council, Crix said. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. You have 1 hour to give up. Hand over the station to us. If you do not, we will destroy it. We will kill everyone inside. This sector of space now belongs to the Krell Empire. Velthar's voice shook when he spoke. Warlord Crix, please. We can talk about this. We can find a solution that works for everyone. There is nothing to talk about. Give up or die. Those are your only choices. The screen went black. The room exploded with noise again. Everyone was yelling. Some aliens started running toward the exits. Others were calling their home planets. The fear in the room was so thick Minho could almost taste it. Minho pushed through the crowd. He had to get to Velthar. He had an idea. Council leader, please listen. Earth can help. We have a military force. We can fight. Velthar looked at him. The bug alien's face was hard to read, but Minho thought he saw pity there. Ambassador Minho, I respect your courage, but your people are too afraid of fighting. This is real war, real violence. We need trained warriors, not people who will break down when they see blood. You do not understand, Minho started to say. We understand perfectly, Velthar said loudly. Your own television shows make it clear. Your soldiers get broken minds from war. You write whole books about it. You have doctors who treat them for years. This is not the time for false pride. Let the strong species handle this. Minho felt anger rise up in his chest, but arguing would not help. He stepped back from Velthar. He pulled out his communicator. His hands were steady now. He knew what he had to do. G1, he said quietly into the device. Connect me to Earth Command. Use authorization code Alpha 79er. Tell them we need military help right now. Tell them it is an emergency. G1's voice came back. Sir, the Council said no military help from Earth. They said, the Council is wrong about us. They have always been wrong. Make the call. That is an order. Yes, sir. 45 minutes passed. They felt like the longest 45 minutes of Minho's life. The Council was trying to move all the civilians to escape ships. But there were not enough ships. Not everyone could leave. Some people would have to stay behind and face the Krell. Velthar was talking about surrender. He said it was the only way to save lives. Some council members agreed. Others wanted to fight with their 3 small ships. But everyone knew those ships would be destroyed in minutes. Minho stood in a quiet hallway. He was away from all the noise and panic. His communicator made a sound. He answered it quickly. A man's voice came through. It was calm and professional. There was no panic in it at all. Ambassador Minho, this is Colonel Deho, United States Marine Corps. We received your call. We are 15 minutes away from your location. Tell the Council to hold on. Help is coming. Minho felt hope rise in his chest. But then he had to ask, Colonel, how many ships are you bringing? There was a pause. Then the Colonel said, 1 ship, sir. But I promise you it will be enough. Minho closed his eyes. 1 ship, 1 human ship against 20 Krell warships. The Council would laugh. They would say the humans were crazy. They would say it proved that humans did not understand real war. But Minho knew something the Council did not know. He knew what the Marines were. He knew what they could do. He had read the history books. He knew about Iwo Jima and Belleau Wood and Fallujah. He knew about the men and women who ran toward danger when everyone else ran away. 15 minutes, Minho said. We will be here, Colonel. Good, tell your people not to worry. The cavalry is coming. The Colonel ended the call. Minho walked back toward the Council chamber. He did not tell anyone about the call. They would not believe him anyway. They would say 1 ship could not make a difference. They would say the humans were delusional, but in 15 minutes everything would change. In 15 minutes, the galaxy would learn the truth about humanity. They would learn that those war movies were not about fear. They were about memory. They were about respect. They were about knowing exactly what you were capable of, and being ready to do it when there was no other choice. The Krell were about to get a very unpleasant surprise. And the Council was about to learn that they had completely misunderstood the humans who lived on that small blue planet called Earth. The human ship appeared exactly 14 minutes and 37 seconds after Colonel Deho made his call. It came out of faster-than-light travel in a flash of blue light. One moment there was nothing. The next moment there it was. The ship was not as big as the Krell warships. It was sleek and gray. It had a flat top with openings all along it. The sides were covered with small guns and missiles. On the side of the ship, written in white letters, were the words, United States Space Force. Below that was another phrase in Latin, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. In the Council chamber, someone made a gasping sound. Everyone turned to look at the big screen. The human ship was there, moving fast toward the Krell fleet. Hyuk the snake alien made a sound of despair. 1 ship? The humans sent only 1 ship to fight an entire fleet? Are they insane? Minho stood up straighter. He felt proud even though he was also scared. That is not just any ship, Counselor. That is a carrier. It carries smaller ships inside it. On the big Krell warship, Warlord Crix was looking at his own screens. He saw the human ship coming toward him. He thought it was funny. His mouth opened in what might have been a laugh. What is that small thing? He asked his crew. Scan it. Tell me what it is. A younger Krell named Vesh worked the controls. Warlord, the ship is human. It is a light carrier. It has about 2,000 crew members. Its weapons look average. Nothing special, Crix made a rumbling sound. It was laughter. Humans. The Council's pet race. The ones who are too weak to fight. This is perfect. Open a communication channel. I want to talk to them. The screen in the Council chamber changed. Now it showed Crix's scarred face. He was also appearing on a screen inside the human ship. Human ship, Crix growled. You are getting in the way of Krell military business. We have read about your species. We know your people fear combat. We know that fighting breaks your minds. Turn around and go home. If you do not, we will destroy you. It will be easy. There was silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then a new voice came over the communication system. It was deep and calm. The man spoke with an accent, but his words were clear and strong. Warlord Crix, this is Colonel Deho. I am the commanding officer of the 1st Marine Expeditionary Unit, United States Marine Corps. You are attacking Galactic Council property without permission. This is against the law. You have 30 seconds to take your ships and leave. If you do not leave, we will treat you as an enemy. In the council chamber, Velthar turned to Minho. His wings were shaking. Is your colonel crazy? They have 20 big warships. The humans only have one small carrier. They will be killed. Minho's face was serious. Council leader, you do not understand humans. We do not fear war. We remember war. All those movies you watched, all those books you read, all those medical studies about trauma, they were not signs that we are weak. They were records. They were lessons. They were warnings to ourselves to never forget what we can do. On the Krell ship, Crix was laughing again. Marines? What is a Marine? Is that some kind of fish? Colonel Deho's voice was quiet but firm. A Marine is someone who runs toward the sound of guns, someone who stands between home and danger, someone who has learned every lesson from 10,000 years of human war. And Warlord, your 30 seconds just ended. The bottom of the human carrier opened up. Doors slid back along the entire length of the ship. And then, like angry bees coming out of a hive, hundreds of smaller ships poured out into space. There were small, fast fighter ships. There were bigger bomber ships. There were transport ships for soldiers. All of them moved together in perfect patterns. They flew like they had practiced this 1,000 times. They flew like they knew exactly what they were doing. Crix stopped laughing. Colonel Deho's voice came over the Marine communication network. All the pilots could hear him. All pilots, this is your commanding officer. Remember your training. Protect the station. Keep the civilians safe. Show them what Marines can do. Semper Fi. 200 voices answered him at the same time. They shouted the Marine battle cry. Ura! Captain Bora was flying the lead fighter. She was in charge of Raptor Squadron. She had trained for this moment her entire adult life. She had not wanted war. She had not hoped for it. But she was ready for it. She armed her weapons. Her hands did not shake. Raptor Squadron, you are cleared to engage, she said into her radio. Target the destroyer ships. Let us show the Krell what happens when they threaten innocent people. Her squadron answered. Yes, ma'am. The Krell fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma bolts and missiles flew through space. The energy blasts lit up the darkness. It looked like a deadly fireworks show. Any normal pilots would have run away. Any normal fleet would have scattered in fear. The Marines flew straight into the weapons fire. They did not flinch. They did not hesitate. They flew their ships like extensions of their own bodies. They dodged and weaved. They rolled and dived, and they fired back. Captain Bora saw a stream of plasma fire coming at her. It would have destroyed her ship. But she twisted her fighter to the side. The blast missed her by inches. She did not even blink. She was too focused on her target. She fired her missiles. They hit a gun turret on a Krell destroyer. The turret exploded. One gun down, she said calmly. Moving to the next target. Her wingman was Lieutenant June. He pulled his fighter through a turn that would have made most pilots black out. The force of gravity pressed him into his seat. But he stayed conscious. He stayed focused. His training had prepared him for this. His fighter screamed past a Krell destroyer. He launched his missiles. They hit the ship's bridge. The destroyer started spinning out of control. In the council chamber, the aliens watched in shock. Their mouths hung open. They could not believe what they were seeing. The humans were not running away. They were not panicking. They were fighting with a skill and precision that seemed impossible. Why are they not retreating? Hyuk whispered. They should be terrified. They should be breaking down. That is what their movies showed us. Minho stood beside him. His eyes were locked on the screen. They are Marines, counselor. Running away is not what they do. They only retreat if they are ordered to. And right now, they have been ordered to protect this station. So that is what they will do, or they will die trying. On the Krell flagship, Warlord Crix was not laughing anymore. He was starting to look worried. How many human fighters have we destroyed? He demanded. Vesh checked his screens. He looked confused. Warlord, we have only destroyed 7 of their fighters. But they have destroyed 3 of our destroyers. 2 more destroyers are badly damaged. They are fighting better than anyone in our database. The combat ratio is wrong. This should not be possible. Only 7? Crix could not believe it. We have fired thousands of shots at them. They seem to know where we are going to shoot before we shoot, Vesh said. And Warlord, they are showing no fear at all. No panic, no hesitation. They fly like machines, but our scans confirm they are organic beings, not robots. Crix stared at his screens. For the first time in his long military career, he felt a cold feeling in his stomach. It might have been fear. The humans were not supposed to be good at fighting. Everyone said they were weak and scared. But these Marines were fighting like they had been born to do it. The Krell were starting to realize they had made a terrible mistake. The battle grew more intense. The Krell kept firing at the Marine fighters. More and more weapons lit up the darkness of space. Explosions burst like deadly flowers. Plasma bolts streaked through the black. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The Krell expected the human fighters to panic now. They expected them to make mistakes. They expected them to break formation and scatter. That was what happened when you fought someone who was scared. Fear made you stupid. Fear made you weak. But the Marines did not scatter. They flew in tighter formation. They moved like one creature with many bodies. When one pilot had to dodge, another pilot covered them. When one ship ran low on ammunition, another ship took its place. They worked together perfectly. Captain Bora's voice came over the radio. It was calm and steady. Raptor 1-2, break left. I will take that gun turret. Her fighter rolled through more plasma fire. The shots came so close that her ship's alarm screamed at her. But she did not panic. She kept her hands steady. She kept her eyes on her target. The plasma missed her by centimeters. Lieutenant June's fighter broke left just like she ordered. He pulled a turn that put so much force on his body that he could barely breathe. His vision started to go gray at the edges, but he stayed conscious through pure willpower. His training had taught him how. He flew past a Krell destroyer and launched his missiles. They hit the ship's command center. The destroyer started to drift, damaged and helpless. Bora followed right behind him. Her guns fired. The bullets tore through the turret she had targeted. It exploded. That is one more gun down. Moving to the next. In the council chamber, Counselor Hugh stared at the tactical display screen. His mouth hung open. He could not close it. They are not retreating. Why are they not retreating? They should be terrified right now. Minho stood next to him. His eyes never left the screen. Because they are Marines. Retreating is not in their training unless someone orders them to retreat. And right now, Colonel Deho has not given that order. On the Krell flagship, Warlord Crix was starting to sweat. His claws dug into his command chair. How many fighters have we destroyed now? He shouted at Vesh. Vesh's hands moved over his controls. He looked at the numbers. He looked again. He could not believe what he was seeing. Warlord, we have destroyed 7 human fighters total. But we have lost 3 destroyers completely. 2 more destroyers are very badly damaged. They cannot fight anymore. Their tactics are not in any of our military databases. They trade kills at a ratio we have never seen before. 7. Crix's voice was full of disbelief. We have fired 10,000 shots at them. They move like they know where we will fire before we fire, Vesh said quietly. And Warlord, they show no fear responses at all. No hesitation, no panic, no confusion. They fly their ships like they are part machine. But they are definitely organic life forms. What the Krell did not understand was simple. Every Marine pilot had trained for this exact situation hundreds of times. They had sat in simulators that made them feel like they were really in combat. They had practiced until the movements became automatic. Until they did not have to think. Until their bodies knew what to do even when their minds were screaming with fear. Because yes, the Marines were afraid. Humans felt fear just like everyone else. But humans had learned something over thousands of years of warfare. They had learned that fear was just a feeling. It was information. It told you that you were in danger. But it did not have to control you. You could feel afraid and still do your job. Humans had studied every major battle in their history. They had analyzed what worked and what failed. They had written it all down in books. They had taught it in schools. They had passed the knowledge from generation to generation. They had built an entire science around war, and now that knowledge was being used. Right here.
Right now.
In space above the council station. Colonel Deho's voice came over the command channel. Bomber Wing, you are clear for your attack run. Hit the big ship's engines. Let us make sure that giant cannot move. Roger that, Colonel. Bomber Wing is on the way. That was Major Tajin. He was leading the bomber formation. His ship was bigger and slower than the fighters, but it carried much bigger weapons. Major Tajin flew his bomber through a storm of defensive fire. Guns from the Krell ships fired at him from every direction. Warning alarms filled his cockpit. His co-pilot, Captain Minji, called out the threats in a calm voice. Multiple missile locks. Deploying countermeasures. Gun turret on the right is tracking us. Keep steady, Tajin said. His hands did not shake on the controls. 3 different weapon systems were trying to kill him right now. He knew it. He could feel the fear in his chest. His heart was beating fast. His mouth was dry, but his hands stayed steady. His voice stayed calm. That was what the Council had never understood. Humans did not lack fear. They just refused to let fear win. They felt it. They acknowledged it. And then they did their duty anyway. Target locked, Minji said. Ready to release bombs. Bombs away, Tajin said. He pressed the button. A dozen huge bombs fell from the bomber formation. They were not normal bombs. They were designed to punch through thick armor. Humans called them bunker busters. The bombs flew through space in a precise pattern. Every calculation had been done perfectly. Every trajectory was exact. The bombs hit the giant Krell dreadnought's engine section. They hit one after another in a specific sequence. Boom, boom, boom. Each explosion was bigger than the last. The massive ship shook. Fire and debris burst out from its engines. Direct hit, Minji shouted. Engine power is dropping fast. The big ship is dead in the water. It cannot move anymore. On the Krell flagship, alarm sounds filled the bridge. Red lights flashed everywhere. Reports came in from all over the ship. Fire in the engine room. Hull breach on deck 7. Life support failing in section 12. The damage was catastrophic. Warlord Crick stared at his tactical display. He could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet was losing. His massive dreadnought was crippled, and the humans had barely taken any damage at all. How is this possible? He roared. They are the species that fears war. Their own records show that combat breaks them. Their movies show their soldiers coming home with damaged minds. Vesh spoke quietly. There was something like respect in his voice. Warlord, I do not think they fear war. I think they understand it better than we do. Much better. Crix looked at his tactical officer. He saw the truth in Vesh's eyes. The humans had been studying war for their entire history. While other species tried to avoid conflict, humans had been fighting each other and learning from every battle. They had turned warfare into a science. They had made it an art form. Those movies and books the Council had watched were not signs of weakness. They were proof of mastery. Only someone who truly understood war would document it so carefully. Only someone who respected the cost would try so hard to remember it. The Krell had thought they were attacking a weak species. They had thought the humans would be easy prey. They had been wrong, very, very wrong, and now they were paying the price for that mistake. Warlord Crix tried to give orders to his fleet. His voice was tight with anger and fear. All Krell ships fall back to defensive positions. Prepare for another explosion cut off his words. A Krell cruiser had been hit by concentrated fire from multiple marine fighters. The ship's shields failed. The hull split in 2. Pieces of metal and fire spread through space. Small pods shot out from the dying ship. They were escape pods, Krell crew members trying to save their lives. Lieutenant June saw the pods on his scanner. He reported it immediately. Rescue beacons detected. Multiple Krell life signs in the pods. Captain Bora's voice came back quickly. All fighters, hold your fire on the escape pods. Those crew members are no longer fighting us. They are protected under the laws of war. Her pilots confirmed the order. Yes, ma'am. Holding fire on the pods. In the council chamber, Velthar turned to Minho. The bug alien's wings were trembling. They are sparing the escape pods? They are letting the enemy survive? Minho nodded. His face was serious but proud. Yes, council leader. Marines follow the Geneva Convention. It is an old human law about how to fight wars. Once an enemy stops fighting, you do not kill them. Once they surrender or eject in an escape pod, they are protected. Marines are not murderers. They are professional soldiers. The statement caused surprised sounds throughout the council chamber. These humans fought with such skill and violence, but they also showed mercy to defeated enemies. They followed rules even in the middle of battle. It was a strange combination. It was confusing, but it was also impressive. On the Krell flagship, Vesh was staring at his sensor screens. His claws were shaking as he read the numbers. Warlord, the damage report is complete. We have lost 6 ships entirely. 8 more ships are heavily damaged and cannot fight. The humans have only lost 14 fighters. The numbers were devastating. The Marines had destroyed or disabled almost half the Krell fleet, and they had barely taken any losses themselves. This was not just better tactics. This was complete dominance. This was mastery of warfare. How? Crix demanded. How are they doing this? Vesh pulled up data on his screen. Warlord, I have been studying their combat patterns during the battle. They are using tactics from many different sources. Some look similar to historical battles from their own planet. Others appear to be adaptations of theoretical strategies. They fight as individuals but coordinate as one organism. And sir, they are learning. Every time we engage them, they adjust their tactics. They adapt. That is impossible, Crix said. No species learns that quickly during active combat. Humans do, apparently, Vesh said softly. What the Krell were seeing was the result of thousands of years of human warfare. Humans had fought each other constantly throughout their history. They had fought over land, over food, over ideas, over religion. They had made every possible mistake in combat. And they had written it all down. They had studied it. They had learned from it. The United States Marine Corps had been fighting somewhere in the world for over 200 years before humans even went to space. Generation after generation of Marines had passed down their knowledge. Every lesson learned in blood was taught to the next group of Marines. The institution never forgot. It always remembered. These Marines were not warriors who feared battle. They were warriors who respected battle, and that respect made them deadly. Colonel Deho's voice cut through the chaos on the Krell bridge. The human had opened a communication channel. Warlord Crix, this is Colonel Deho. You have lost half your fleet. Your big dreadnought cannot move. I am giving you one chance to withdraw. Take your remaining ships and leave this sector. Leave now. Crix felt his pride fighting with his common sense. His claws dug deep into his command chair. The armrests cracked under the pressure. And if I refuse your offer? Then we will finish this battle. And Warlord, I have reinforcements coming. Another carrier group will be here in 2 hours. You will not survive that long. Your fleet will be destroyed. Take your people and go home. There is no shame in retreating from a battle you cannot win. It was a lie. The second carrier group was actually 6 hours away, not 2. But Crix did not know that. And looking at how easily these Marines were destroying his fleet, the lie sounded completely believable. If one carrier could do this much damage, 2 carriers would be unstoppable. Vesh leaned close to his commander. He spoke quietly so the rest of the crew could not hear. Warlord, we cannot win this fight. The humans have shown clear tactical superiority. If we withdraw now, we can save most of the fleet. We can fight another day. Crix closed his eyes. Pride was expensive. His ego wanted to keep fighting. But his brain knew the truth. They were beaten. These humans had defeated them completely. He opened his eyes and gave the order he never thought he would give. All ships withdraw to hyperspace jump coordinates. Abandon the dreadnought. All crew members evacuate to transport ships. We are leaving. The Krell fleet began to retreat. Their remaining ships turned away from the station. They moved as fast as they could toward the edge of the system where they could jump to hyperspace. The Marines followed them but did not fire. They just made sure the Krell actually left. Within 15 minutes, the Krell were gone. Only their giant dreadnought remained, floating dead in space. Around it were the broken pieces of destroyed ships. Debris fields marked where the battle had been fought. But the station was safe. The civilians were protected. Colonel Deho spoke to his Marines one last time. All pilots, cease fire. Begin search and rescue operations for any survivors from destroyed ships, including Krell survivors. Raptor Squadron. Establish a defensive perimeter around the station. Well done, Marines. You made me proud today. Semper Fi. 200 voices echoed back across the communication network. Hoorah! In the council chamber, there was complete silence. No one spoke. No one moved. They had just watched a single human carrier defeat an entire Krell battle fleet. They had seen humans fight with a skill they did not know was possible. They had watched humans show both deadly violence and careful mercy in the same battle. Belthar slowly turned to look at Minho. The council leader's voice was quiet. We were wrong about your species. Very, very wrong. Minho nodded. Yes, council leader. You were. But I understand why. You saw our pain and thought it meant we were weak. You did not realize that our pain made us wise. We know the cost of war. We remember it. We respect it. And when we have no other choice, we are very, very good at it. Velthar's wings drooped. What have we done? We treated Earth like a weak child that needed protection. But you are warriors. Perhaps the greatest warriors the galaxy has ever seen. We are not just warriors, Minho said. We are humans. We prefer peace. We want friendship and trade and cultural exchange. But when someone threatens those we have sworn to protect, we remember who we are. We remember what we are capable of. And we do what must be done. Hyuk slithered forward. The snake alien's voice was full of wonder. You do not fear war. You remember it? Yes, Minho said. That is exactly right. We remember it. Every battle, every mistake, every victory, every defeat, every lesson learned in blood. We pass it all down through the generations. We never forget, and that memory makes us dangerous when we need to be. The council members looked at each other. They were seeing humanity in a completely new way, not as weak creatures who needed protection, but as experienced warriors who chose peace but were always ready for war. It changed everything. The entire galaxy would have to reconsider what they thought they knew about the humans from Earth.